Hello and welcome to Sami Parvez Show. Today I am joined by Maxime Bernier, leader of the People's Party of Canada, who served several ministerial portfolios under Stephen Harper's government. Good day, Mr. Bernier. Thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you here. Hello, Mr. Bernier.
Hey, okay. How are you?
I'm good, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for making it again.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy and very pleased to be with you.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here.
That's great.
Thank you. Uh, so let's begin. Do you still identify with the nickname Mad Max? How does it reflect? How does it reflect to your political identity and perception of public?
Yeah, I like the question. I must say, we use that nickname Mad Max during the COVID hysteria. Everything that happened to us during COVID, that was crazy. As you know, I was fighting for more freedom and against the draconian measures that were imposed by different governments. And so, yes, I was mad at that time. And I said to people, you can call me Mad Max. But actually, I like to travel across the country, and sometimes some people are calling me Mad Max with a smile, but you can call me Max or Maxime, and that would be okay. But that was a way for us to show to everybody that we are not afraid to speak about the truth based on facts and reason. So that's why, Mad Max was used. And I had fun with that at that time.
Thank you. Yeah, so I heard lots of time like being called like Mad Max. So right now, how do you feel? Are you still mad like on the current situations, or now you are fine? Like,
Yeah, you can say that I'm still mad because look what is happening in our country. And, for the young people, it's very difficult for them to find a job. And actually, with the inflation that we have, the official rate of inflation is supposed to be around 3%. But we know that the real rate of inflation is more about 8%. So the standard of living is going down. People are poorer. And yes, we can be bad about that and mad about the government because it's because of the Trudeau government. And also, we must admit the support of the Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre because they voted for all that money that the government spent during COVID-19. And again, today with the huge deficit, $40 billion deficit this year. And, money is not, coming from the sky. You have to work, and after that, you've been paid and you need to earn your money. But right now, with all these programs, what is happening with that is creating a deficit. And that deficit is being financed by the Bank of Canada by printing money. The more money you print, you have more money chasing fewer goods, and usually you have inflation, and that is what we have right now. So yes, I'm mad about the situation. I'm mad about the fact that we are losing our country on the mass immigration. I'm for a sustainable immigration policy, but it's not the case right now. We have more than 1.2 million newcomers every year in our country. It's the population of Saskatchewan. When you have people like that, they cannot be integrate into our society and be part of our society. So we need to stop that. That is having a huge impact on the housing prices. And, it's more difficult to buy a house. It's unaffordable in Vancouver and Toronto and Montreal. Prices are up because there's more people, and all these person need a roof. So you need to stop mass immigration, and that will help to solve the housing crisis.
Yeah, so you brought up like mass immigration and inflation and too much spending. So as Prime Minister, how would you tackle it down? What's your plan?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Because yes, if we want to stop inflation, first we need to stop spending. We need to balance the budget, and so to do that, we will cut spending, and we will cut, for example, foreign aid. Foreign aid, the federal government, the Canadian government, is giving about $10 billion a year to other countries. We must bring back that money home and for Canadians. So we'll cut that. We will save $10 billion. We will always also uh, stop to give subsidies to big businesses, corporate welfare. The federal government is giving about $10 billion a year to different subsidies to businesses. We need to stop that. We will save another $10 billion. I can go on with the UN. The federal government is giving a lot of subsidies to the UN. And for me, the UN is a dysfunctional organization. We must finance the UN when they will do things that are in line with our values. And I can tell you that is not the case right now. At the UN, it's a dysfunctional organization and a socialist organization. So we need to withdraw from the Paris Accord. We need to withdraw from the um, global compact on migration, and we can save money there. So there's a way to be able to balance the budget the first year, and that's our proposal. Because after that, we will need to lower taxes to every single Canadian.
Yeah, so do you think like Canada should withdraw from UN and WHO? Should completely withdraw from there, as there are too much being funded to those organizations?
First, we will cut fundings to the UN. Sorry, like I said, we will give money to the UN only when they are working with programs that are in line with our values. So I still believe that we will stay part of the UN, and but we won't participate in their socialist program. Like, for example, the pandemic treaty that is in negotiation right now with the World Health Organization. It's a very bad treaty. I'm against that. So we won't be part of these kinds of treaties. And that's why we need to withdraw from the Paris Accord, withdraw from the pandemic treaty. So all that, we will do that. And we will be part of the UN, but we won't try to, influence the UN, because it's a lost cause. So we will be there because Canada is a nation and would be part of the UN nation, but we won't participate in their socialist projects, so we can save a lot of money.
Yeah, so but for doing that one is what you are suggesting or you want to do, you need to be in the parliament, but you are out of the parliament. Please let me ask this one. After leaving the Conservative Party to found the People's Party of Canada, your own party, your electoral performance is not surpassed 20% of the vote in the last 4 elections, including 2 by-election. Given this, do you believe it was a mistake to leave the Conservative Party, and have you considered merging back with them?
No, I don't, and it was not a mistake. By the way, it was the best political decision that I took in my political life. The fact that I left that party, and I said the Conservative Party is morally and intellectually corrupt, and that's why I won't go back. They're still morally and intellectually corrupt because they don't promote conservative ideas anymore. They are afraid to speak against mass immigration. They are afraid to withdraw from the Paris Accord. They believe in the climate hysteria. They're not ready to balance the budget in 1 year. They don't want to speak about the radical gender ideology and the fact that there's only, 2 sexes. they're doing politics based on survey and focus group and polling. We are not doing that. So when I left the Conservative Party of Canada, as you know, after 15 months after the leadership contest that I didn't win with 49% of the vote. But when I left, I tried to change the party. I tried to influence the party and the leader at that time. But the establishment didn't want to think and to speak about the real political issues that we are having in our country. And so I said, what is the goal to stay in the Conservative Party of Canada when they are just conservative in name and they don't want to bring big reforms? So that's why we created the People's Party of Canada, based on strong ideas and 4 principles: individual freedom, personal responsibility, fairness, and respect. And all our policies are in line with these principles. And that's why, we have, speaking about always the same thing, we have the same electoral platform, and that since the creation of that party, and that will be the same electoral platform at the next general election in 2025. But the Conservatives, the Liberals, the NDP, they're doing politics based on survey and polling, and they don't know what they believe right now, because they don't know what the population will want to hear in 22 months. So they're just following the public opinion. We are leading the public opinion because we understand that Canadians has been manipulated by the radical leftist media. So if you want to promote conservative ideas, freedom ideas, you must to speak about it constantly with passion and conviction. And that's what our people and our candidates are doing. And that's what I'm doing.
Okay, thank you. So you are part of that conservative party, conservative government, who signed the Paris Accord Agreement back in 2015 under Stephen Harper's government. You served as Foreign Affairs Minister. You also served National Defense Committee Chair and also Minister of State. So you are part of that government. So why didn't you object it at that time? But now you are objecting it rather after you lost that election, a leadership election very closely. It was just about 1% difference. So why you are saying this thing now, like you did not say it at that time when you were part of that party which was leading?
Thank you for asking. Actually, yes, I was silent on the Paris Accord, for example, but also after the leadership contest, when the Liberal tabled a motion to support the Paris Accord. I didn't vote for that. Andrew Scheer did. But yes, when I was with the Harper government, when I was a minister, I did a lot of fights inside, because when you're a minister, you have discussion at the cabinet table and you try to convince your colleagues about your politics and your vision for this country. So I tried on different issues. I wasn't able to do that, but also I decided to stay in the Conservative Party as a minister at that time, because also I was industry minister and I was able to do reform with, cutting red tape in the telecom industry. We did a big deregulation in the telecom industry, and now people are paying less for their cellulars that they were paying for their phone that they were paying 10 years ago. So I was doing a big reform there, and I had the support of the cabinet colleagues. But when I was speaking around the cabinet table on other issues like the Paris Accord, and that was not the position of the Conservative and the Prime Minister. So after that, that's why I did the leadership contest. I decided to do that leadership run to say, okay, all the things that I believe, this is my platform. And actually, the platform that I ran on during the leadership contest was the same platform and is the same platform as the one that we have at the People's Party. So I put all the ideas there that I was not able to influence in the Conservative Party. I said, I'm running, and if I'm the leader, this will be the position of the Conservative Party of Canada. But it did not happen. So, and Andrew Scheer didn't want to hear anything about our vision because some of our policies were not that popular during that time. And the only preoccupation for Andrew Scheer was to be elected as prime minister. So he didn't want to speak about ideas that were not that popular. And he told me that in my face, and he was very honest. He said, Maxime, I won't take any of your ideas that are right now the ideas of the People's Party of Canada. I won't take any of your ideas because I want to be elected as prime minister, and your ideas were popular with the membership of the Conservative Party of Canada, but they are not popular with Canadians in general. So that's why I won't take any of your ideas. So that's why at that time I said, I don't want to waste my time anymore with the Conservative. And we created the People's Party and to fight for the same ideas. And I can tell you that now we had 5% at the last election, and I believe that this party will grow, maybe 8, 9, 10 at the next election. But the time is on our side because more people understand our position on different important issues for the future of the country.
Thank you. So you have been a leader of People's Party of Canada. You founded the party. So you lost 2 elections, as you said that. So you understand about those last 2 election result, as you are saying, it is growing. Don't you think it's a time for another leader to take over the party?
Yeah, your question is, Maxime, you created the People's Party of Canada with your supporters in 2018. Yeah. We had our first election, 1.6% of the vote. Yeah. And so, but for a young party, 1.6, I just want to let you know that it took 15 years for the Green Party of Canada to have more than 1% of the vote. We did that in our first year. So that being said, we had the next election in 2021, and we had 5% of the vote. So that question is an important one. So what I did, I asked our members to decide if they want to have a leadership contest or not. So after the last election, after the last election in October 2021, we did a survey, a referendum with our members done by not the head office of the People's Party of Canada, but by an external firm. We gave them our membership and we told them, ask them, do you want to reopen the leadership for the People's Party of Canada? And so they voted for that. And actually the result was 95% of them said that they want me as a leader. So that's why I'm the leader today. And I strongly believe that at the next election, if we don't win, it's something that we must do. Respect our membership and asking them if they want to open a leadership review or not. We did that after the last election. We did the same also. Whatever will be the result after the next election.
Okay, thank you. So let me go through, like right now, maybe you are like many international students are protesting to remain in Canada, and they should be granted permanent residence as their the work permit which is getting expired. So how would you address demands from international students for permanent residency status? And what is your stance on individuals who entered Canada illegally and are challenging the government to allow them to stay?
I'm going to say no. They came here as international students, like you said. After that, you go back to your country of origin. But the federal government, and we know that some of them came and they didn't study. They came here to think that, okay, I'll have a visa, and when I'll be in Canada, I'll be able after that to ask for being a permanent resident. And actually, the Trudeau government is looking at it right now. That's not a way to be a permanent resident. There's only one door. You must ask it, and not trying to find other ways to come to be to try to be a permanent resident. So for me, after your permits, it's the same thing also for the temporary foreign workers. They are here temporary. After that, they must leave the country. If not, they must be deported. Same thing with the students. After their visa, when their visas is not can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. After when their visa is not in force anymore, these people must leave the country. If not, I'm for a deportation.
And what's your point of view? What are your thoughts regarding the current government changes on caregivers? Like whenever they will arrive, they will be given like permanent residency, and the requirement for English language has been reduced to just 4 CLB.
Yeah. So I'm, it's not the right thing to do. I'm against that. People must come here and being able to speak English or French, or knowing some English or French. And now, that would be another way to try to have a permanent residency. No, that project will just show to everybody, you can come to Canada and, we'll give you permanent residency. No, it's a privilege to be Canadian. And I'm against that program. We will repeal that program. But the conservative won't speak against that because they are pandering to some immigrant communities. And for me, when you come to Canada, it's because you want to live here. You share our values and our way of life. And I want you to be part of this country. I want you to integrate into our country. For me, if your country of origin is China or another country, you're not a Chinese Canadian. I don't like that. You're a Canadian. That's it. I don't do any discrimination. So come here, share our values. We'll have we'll have an interview with you. And if you share our values, you'll come and you'll be a permanent resident. Now, we don't do any interviews with them. They come like a student, sometimes a fake student, and we're telling them it's okay. If they don't leave after their permit is not in force anymore, it is not respecting our legislations. It is cheating. So why we will give a permanent residency to a person that is cheating and not respecting our legislations? The message that we are sending to the world is come to Canada, say that you are a student. No, that's not true. That's okay. And after that, 2 or 3 years, you'll have a permanent residency. We are telling people you can come here by lying to us and we'll be okay with that. We'll give you a permanent residency. No, we must not do that. And that's why I'm for deportation in this case.
And do you think these students are protesting in PEI province and also in Brampton? Should they be deported immediately?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
Thank you. And there is another concern about like quota system, like DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. There is a perception that jobs are increasingly being offered on quotas for diversity, equity, and inclusivity, potentially at the expense of merit. What's your view on this approach?
It's not in line with Western civilization values. We must promote meritocracy. We must be a meritocracy. I don't care if you're white, brown, black, yellow, or Jewish or Christian. I don't care. It's not important for me. Do you share our values? Come with us. And for a corporation, if you're competent for the job, you must have the job. So the most competent must have the job. You cannot, promoting people just because of the color of their skin or their sexual orientation to a job. No, this country is a meritocracy, and we must respect that. So all these woke ideology and DEI. We won't promote that at the federal level. Actually, we'll do the opposite. Everything in a government must be based on merit, and we must also send a strong message to the private sector. If we don't want you to promote people who are not competent for the job just to fill a ratio of white or black or yellow people. No, I'm against that, and I'm the only national politician who is speaking against that. They're all afraid, but it's a common sense. It's a common sense. Private sector must hire people because they are competent. Now the government is forcing them to do the opposite, and we must abolish that legislation.
And do you think the Trudeau government, like ministers, were appointed based on DEI?
Yeah, no, absolutely, yes. When Trudeau was elected the first time in 2015, he said, I will be a 50-50 cabinet, 50 men, 50 women. For me, I don't buy that. I don't want that. The people who be in minister or in politics, it's because you're ready to fight, and for having a job as a minister, it's because you are the most competent. And actually, that must be like that. But for Trudeau, it's all about the image, and that is destroying our country.
And recently, you heard about the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliament's reports. What's your response on that report? Like those MPs, many MPs are involved for working foreign actors, especially mention India and China. Do you think those MPs' names should be disclosed publicly?
Yeah, yes, it should be disclosed for sure. But I'm not surprised that is happening in our country. Why? Because of the Multiculturalism Act. We are saying to people, you can come to Canada, keep your culture, keep everything, just come here, don't integrate to our Canadian society. So if we are promoting that as a state, as a country, always more diversity, and that Multiculturalism Act, we are not promoting Canadian values. We are not promoting our culture. We are not promoting our identity. We are not promoting our history. So these MPs are not integrated in our society, and their loyalty is with their country of origin. All that happened because of the Multiculturalism Act, and because we are, not telling people that you come here, you must share our values and fight for our country. So it's very sad that we have MPs in Ottawa where their loyalty is not with the country that they're supposed to serve.
And do you think their names will be released by Trudeau government?
I don't know. I hope so, but I doubt.
So if they won't release them, so I need to know like what should happen, like how Canadians can trust Ottawa anymore and their MPs, like it seems like they are working for foreign actors, like they are not representing Canadians, but they are like foreign actors, like foreign powers.
Yeah, and it is happening. And actually, if you look at our foreign policy as a country, our foreign policy is, not for the best interest of Canadians and our country. Sometimes, and a lot of times, it is for, pending to an ethnic groups. And the federal government will take a position on India or on Israel, on our, China, in line with a specific ethnic groups, because these politicians want to have the support of that group. So multiculturalism, the fact of that, we are telling to Chinese Canadians or Canadians from India, keep your values, keep your culture, fight for it. And after that, some of them are elected in parliament and they're doing that. But the worst of that is the government after that is putting in place policies to please these ethnic groups that are in line with the interests of their country of origin. So that's a big mess. That's why, you know, our foreign policy must be only for the goods of this country. And that's why, as the leader of the People's Party, I'm against the war in Ukraine. We must not send money or soldiers there. That's not our war. And, you know, I don't want for us also to give money to Israel for the war in Gaza. It's not our war. We must work for our country, and our first priority must be our country, Canada first. So that's the position of the People's Party. So I can tell you, with position like that, these people who may want to be elected, they won't come with the People's Party of Canada because they know that we don't pander to them. For me, you are a Canadian, and that's the most important. And if you are a Canadian, you must be in line with our policies. We won't change our policies. And so there's no rooms for there to try to influence the People's Party inside. But there's a lot of rooms in the Conservative Party and in the Liberal Party. So now you have these two parties who are pandering to ethnic groups, and they have MPs coming from the ethnic groups that are pushing the government to change Canadian policies for the better of their country of origin. So it's sad.
Yeah, I agree. So do you think there should be a change in the policies, like electoral policy? There should be a requirement. You must be a single citizen, not a dual citizen, and there should be mandatory that you should be born in Canada, then you can run for office.
That's something that we must look at. It's not part of our electoral platform right now, but with what is happening, I will look at it. You have a point there, you know, dual citizenship and people not born in Canada. It's something that we must look at. I'm telling you right now, it's not part of our proposal, but we will look at it. We need to do some changes to be sure that it won't happen again.
But generally, do you think like Canada should bring a change on this? Not just on your like a People's Party, but generally.
But generally, what we must do to be sure that this won't happen in the future, sorry, is to abolish the Multiculturalism Act. We're going to send a strong signal to them. You know, there's Canadian values and that's it. We must also be sure that we'll do a good screening with our immigrants that we don't do. And we must ask them if they share our values. So that would be important to do. And if you want to become a member of parliament, we must be sure that, you know, they will fight for our country. So your proposal to be sure that they will fight for our country, sorry, maybe by asking them to be born in Canada and not having a dual citizenship, it's something that I'm ready to look at.
Thank you. So another question, Justice Mary Jo's Hogg's foreign interference report revealed that the 2019 and 2021 federal elections in Canada were affected by foreign interference, with China, Russia, India, Pakistan, and Iran identified as key threat actors. In 2020, Karima Baloch, a Baloch activist who had sought asylum in Canada, was found dead in Toronto, although it was believed that Pakistan was behind her death. Toronto police ruled out foul play. Given reports of foreign interference in Canadian elections and the suspicious death of Karima Baloch, would you consider calling for a reinvestigation of her death?
Yes, absolutely. A real investigation, a parliamentary commission on that. We must look at it and we must have all the details. Absolutely, yes.
Thank you. And do you think Canada should play a role, like whenever you give political asylum to someone, they should owe it to the people that someone should not be killed, like what happened to Karima Baloch.
Okay, what is your question?
My question is this: does Canada has a role to play, Karima Baloch sought asylum in Canada because she ran away from Balochistan because Pakistani army just they are violating human rights and massacres massacres in Balochistan.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so do you think people like Karima Baloch should be protected?
Oh, yes, absolutely. They're coming here for freedom, and we must promote freedom and protect people like that. Absolutely. That's for every citizen. You know, security is important. If you don't have any security, it's very difficult to have democracy. So the first job of the government is to be sure that, they're going to fight crimes, and people would be able to live in a city where it's secure. So security, that's the role of the state. And yes, when you fight for freedom, you are welcome to our country because we share the same values.
Thank you. And given the ongoing struggle faced by the Baloch people in Balochistan against countries like Pakistan and Iran, both accused of human rights violation and massacres, do you believe Canada, known for its human rights, should play a significant role in supporting the sovereignty and rights of the Baloch nation?
I don't want to interfere, I don't want to interfere in other internal affairs. And like I said, it's Canada first, our country first. But if they want to come to Canada because they share the freedom values, individual freedom, personal responsibility, a smaller state that will respect, your basic rights, equality before the law, equality between men and women. If you want to come to Canada as a refugees or a citizen, you will come. But I don't want to interfere in other country affairs. We we cannot save the world, and I can understand. But the priority must be to open our doors to people who are persecuted in these countries for their belief. Yes, we can do that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And so a by-election is coming up on June 24th in Toronto, St. Paul's. What are your expectations as your candidate is?
I'll be there in the riding with our candidates. I'm very proud of him. He's doing a good campaign. And, I'm telling people, vote for your ideas, vote for the People's Party. It's a by-election. You won't change the government, but you can send a strong signal to the establishment politicians, the conservative, the NDP, and the liberals, just to tell them you're fed up with that. Your standard of living is going down. Our Canadian values are not promoted. There's violence in our streets. So send a strong message. And the only way to do that is to vote for the People's Party of Canada and our candidate in Toronto, St. Paul's.
Thank you. And there are 3 more seats are still vacant in the House of Commons. So if there would be another by-election, are you going to run?
No, I will run in a general election. I will wait. And right now I'm traveling across the country, meeting our candidates, working for the organization of the party, being ready for the next election. So I'm very busy to do that. And I would just run at the general election.
And are you going to run your party will run 343 candidates in the next election, as there were 5 more seats in the House of Commons?
Yes, we will. Actually, last time we had 313 candidates, and our goal this time is to have a full slate of candidates, 1 candidate in every riding, to be able to give the opportunity to every Canadian to be able to vote for their values and to vote for the People's Party? The answer is yes.
Thank you. And where are you expecting to run? From which
last time I was in Manitoba. I may go back to Manitoba, or I may run in Quebec. I don't know. I will decide that early next year.
Thank you. And just do you have any message to Canadians?
But my message is, if you want to know more about the People's Party of Canada, don't hesitate. Go on our website, peoplespartyofcanada.ca, click on our platform and read it. Everything is there. If you like our ideas, we created that party based on 4 principles: individual freedom, personal responsibility, respect, and fairness. If you agree with these principles, you will like our policies, and our policies won't change. We are always fighting for the same ideas because we have a strong vision for this country. And, read our platform. If you like it, I hope you'll support us. If you want to become a member, you can also go on our website, peoplespartyofcanada.ca. You can donate also, helping me to travel across the country and speak about our message. So I want to thank you for giving me that opportunity. That's really important for me to be able to speak to more people.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for being with me.
I appreciate that. So if you need something, don't hesitate to be in touch.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm willing to. We may need to do another show. If
Perfect.
you have time, sir. Thank you, sir.
Have a nice day.
You as well,
Bye-bye.
sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.